Existentialism is a philosophical movement that emerged in the 19th and 20th centuries, particularly in Europe. It focuses on the individual's experience of existence and emphasizes the freedom, responsibility, and meaning of human existence. Key figures of existentialism. Søren Kierkegaard, considered the precursor of existentialism, Kierkegaard explored the concepts of subjective truth, faith, and the importance of individual choice. Friedrich Nietzsche, Nietzsche questioned traditional moral values and proclaimed the death of God. He emphasized the need for individuals to create their own values and embrace the fullness of life. Jean-Paul Sartre. Sartre is one of the most influential existentialist philosophers. He believed that existence precedes essence, meaning that individuals first exist and then define themselves through their actions. He argued for radical freedom and the concept of bad faith, where individuals deceive themselves about their freedom and responsibility. Albert Camus. Camus explored the idea of the absurd, the inherent conflict between the human desire for meaning and the universe's indifference. He discussed the need to confront the absurd and find meaning in life through rebellion and personal integrity. Fyodor Dostoevsky. Dostoevsky is often associated with existentialist themes in his works, although he predates the formal development of existentialism as a philosophical movement. Dostoevsky's novels explore profound psychological and moral dilemmas faced by his characters, delving into themes such as freedom, individual responsibility, suffering, and the search for meaning. Dostoevsky's writings often depict characters who confront the existential predicament of human existence. Key concepts. Existence precedes essence. Existentialists argue that individuals are not predetermined by any fixed essence or nature but instead define themselves through their actions and choices. The phrase existence precedes essence is a key concept in existentialist philosophy, particularly associated with the philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre. It represents a fundamental shift in thinking about human nature and the nature of reality. Traditionally, in philosophical and religious thought, it was believed that essence precedes existence. This means that there is an inherent and predetermined essence or nature that defines an entity or object before it comes into existence. For example, according to this view, a chair has an essence or specific set of characteristics that define what it is before it is created. However, existentialism challenges this idea by asserting that for human beings, existence precedes essence. In other words, human beings do not have a predetermined or fixed essence or nature that determines their existence or purpose. Instead, individuals come into existence first, and it is through their existence, their choices, and their actions that they define their essence or their individual identity. According to existentialism, human beings are not bound by any pre-existing essence or purpose. They are born into the world as free agents, with the capacity to shape their own lives and determine their own values. Each person has the freedom and responsibility to create their own meaning, to make choices, and to take actions that give their existence significance and purpose. This idea of existence preceding essence emphasizes the importance of individual freedom, personal responsibility, and the power of choice. It suggests that individuals have the ability to define themselves, to transcend their circumstances, and to create meaning in a world that may seem inherently devoid of meaning or purpose. In summary, existence precedes essence means that human beings are not defined by a pre-existing essence or nature but rather create their own essence through their existence, choices, and actions. It emphasizes the significance of individual freedom, personal responsibility, and the capacity to shape one's own life and meaning. Freedom and responsibility. Existentialism emphasizes the freedom and responsibility of individuals. With freedom comes the burden of making choices and taking responsibility for the consequences of those choices. Freedom and responsibility are interconnected concepts that play a significant role in existentialist philosophy and ethical discussions. They are closely tied to the idea of individual agency and the capacity to make choices and take actions. Freedom refers to the ability of individuals to act and make choices without external constraints or coercion. It is the state of being free from external limitations that hinder one's autonomy. Existentialists, such as Jean-Paul Sartre, emphasize the profound freedom that human beings possess, which includes not only freedom of action but also freedom of thought and the freedom to shape one's own values and beliefs. In existentialism, freedom is considered a fundamental aspect of human existence. It is viewed as both empowering and burdensome. On one hand, freedom allows individuals to define their own lives, pursue their own goals, and create meaning and purpose. On the other hand, freedom entails responsibility and the weight of the choices individuals make. Responsibility, in the context of freedom, refers to the moral obligation and accountability individuals have for their actions and their consequences. With freedom comes the recognition that one's choices and actions have effects not only on oneself but also on others in the world around them. Existentialists argue that individuals are responsible for the impact of their decisions and the ethical implications of their behavior. Existentialist thinkers emphasize the importance of taking responsibility for one's choices and actions. They reject the notion of determinism, which suggests that individuals are passive products of their environment or external forces. Instead, existentialists highlight the active role individuals play in shaping their lives and the moral responsibility that arises from their freedom. Freedom and responsibility are intertwined because freedom entails the ability to make choices, and responsibility arises from the recognition that these choices have consequences. The existentialist perspective emphasizes the need for individuals to embrace their freedom fully, be aware of the ethical implications of their choices, and take responsibility for the impact of their actions on themselves and others. In summary, freedom and responsibility are central concepts in existentialist thought. Freedom represents the capacity to act and choose without external constraints, while responsibility highlights the moral obligation individuals have for the consequences of their choices and actions. Existentialism emphasizes the interplay between freedom and responsibility, underscoring the importance of conscious decision-making and the recognition of the ethical implications of one's behavior. Authenticity. Existentialists emphasize the importance of living authentically and true to oneself, rather than conforming to societal expectations or norms. They encourage individuals to embrace their own values, beliefs, and passions. Authenticity is a concept that is highly valued in existentialist philosophy and relates to the notion of living in accordance with one's true self and personal values. It is about being true to oneself and living an authentic life rather than conforming to societal expectations or adopting false personas. In existentialism, authenticity is closely tied to the idea of individual freedom and responsibility. It involves taking ownership of one's existence, choices, and actions, and aligning them with one's genuine desires, beliefs, and values. Living authentically means acting in accordance with one's own convictions rather than being swayed by external pressures or conforming to societal norms. Existentialists argue that individuals are capable of self-awareness and self-reflection, allowing them to critically examine their own values, motivations, and aspirations. By engaging in this process, individuals can identify and embrace what truly matters to them, what gives their lives meaning, and what resonates with their innermost sense of self. Living authentically also involves taking responsibility for one's choices and their consequences. Authentic individuals recognize that their actions have an impact on their own lives and the lives of others, and they are willing to face the outcomes of their decisions with honesty and integrity. They do not hide behind masks or pretend to be someone they are not. Authenticity is often contrasted with inauthenticity or inauthentic existence, which refers to living in a state of self-deception, conformity, or alienation from one's true self. Inauthenticity can manifest as the adoption of societal roles or expectations, a fear of judgment or rejection, or a lack of self-awareness and reflection. Existentialists argue that inauthentic existence can lead to a sense of emptiness, dissatisfaction, and a loss of meaning. Living authentically requires ongoing self-examination, self-reflection, and the courage to act in alignment with one's own values and beliefs. It involves accepting one's individuality and embracing the freedom and responsibility that come with it. Authenticity is seen as an ongoing process rather than a fixed state, as individuals continuously explore and redefine their sense of self in relation to the ever-changing circumstances of life. In summary, authenticity in existentialist philosophy refers to living in accordance with one's true self, values, and beliefs. It involves self-awareness, self-reflection, and the courage to act in alignment with one's own convictions, rather than conforming to external pressures or societal expectations. Authenticity is seen as a vital aspect of leading a meaningful and fulfilling life, allowing individuals to embrace their freedom, take responsibility for their choices, and live in congruence with their genuine desires and aspirations. Anguish and dread. Existentialists recognize the inherent anxiety and anguish that arise from the realization of one's freedom and the ultimate responsibility for shaping one's life. Anguish and dread are existential concepts that capture the profound emotional experiences associated with the human condition, particularly when confronted with the uncertainties, complexities, and limitations of existence. Anguish, in the context of existentialism, refers to a deep and pervasive sense of anxiety, distress, or inner turmoil that arises from the awareness of one's freedom and responsibility. It is the recognition that individuals have the power to shape their lives and make choices, but at the same time, they must confront the consequences and uncertainties that come with those choices. Anguish arises from the tension between the desire for autonomy and the inherent risks and uncertainties of living in a world where there are no predetermined paths or guarantees. Dread, on the other hand, represents a profound sense of existential fear or existential threat in the face of the unknown or the inevitability of death. It is the recognition that human existence is finite, and the awareness of mortality can evoke a deep sense of dread and unease. Dread arises from contemplating the vastness of existence, the transience of life, and the ultimate uncertainty of what lies beyond. Both anguish and dread are considered inherent aspects of the human condition in existentialist thought. They are not seen as negative emotions to be avoided or suppressed, but rather as integral parts of the human experience. Existentialists argue that embracing and confronting these emotions can lead to a deeper understanding of oneself and the nature of existence. Existentialist thinkers, such as Soren Kierkegaard and Jean-Paul Sartre, emphasize that anguish and dread can be catalysts for personal growth and self-discovery. They believe that by confronting and accepting these emotions, individuals can confront their own limitations, confront the absurdity of existence, and make choices that are authentic and meaningful. It is important to note that while anguish and dread are associated with existentialism, they are not limited to existentialist philosophy alone. They are universal experiences that individuals of any philosophical or existential orientation can encounter in the face of life's uncertainties and the awareness of their own mortality. In summary, anguish and dread are existential emotions that arise from the awareness of freedom, responsibility, and the finite nature of human existence. They reflect the emotional turmoil and fear that individuals may experience when confronted with the complexities and uncertainties of life. Existentialists view these emotions as integral to the human condition and as opportunities for personal growth, self-reflection, and the pursuit of authentic existence. Absurdity. Existentialists grapple with the idea that life and the universe may lack inherent meaning or purpose. Despite this, they argue that individuals can still find subjective meaning and purpose through personal choice and commitment. Absurdity is a central concept in existentialist philosophy that refers to the fundamental contradiction or conflict between the human need for meaning and purpose and the inherent lack of inherent meaning or purpose in the universe. Existentialists argue that human beings have a natural inclination to search for meaning and coherence in their lives. However, they confront an indifferent and seemingly irrational universe that does not offer any inherent or objective meaning. This clash between the human desire for meaning and the absence of inherent meaning gives rise to the experience of absurdity. The experience of absurdity can manifest in various ways. It can arise from the recognition that life's events and circumstances often appear random, chaotic, or lacking a discernible purpose. It can also stem from the realization that human efforts to find ultimate meaning or purpose can be frustrated or ultimately futile. The absurdity of existence challenges traditional religious, philosophical, or rational frameworks that attempt to provide a neat and coherent explanation of the world. Existentialist thinkers, such as Albert Camus, emphasize that embracing the absurd does not entail resignation or despair. Rather, it involves acknowledging and confronting the inherent contradictions and uncertainties of existence without seeking false or illusory solutions. It is an invitation to engage with life's absurdity and to create personal meaning and value in the face of its inherent lack. The response to absurdity varies among existentialist philosophers. Some advocate for rebellion and the assertion of individual freedom and authenticity in the face of absurdity. Others emphasize the need to embrace the present moment and find meaning in the everyday experiences of life. Ultimately, existentialists encourage individuals to confront the absurdity of existence with courage, creativity, and an acceptance of the inherent uncertainties and contradictions of life. It's important to note that the concept of absurdity is not limited to existentialist philosophy but has also been explored in various forms across literature, art, and other philosophical traditions. However, existentialism places a particular emphasis on the human experience of absurdity and its implications for personal meaning and existential choice. In summary, absurdity in existentialist philosophy refers to the inherent clash or conflict between the human need for meaning and purpose and the absence of inherent meaning or purpose in the universe. It represents the recognition of life's contradictions, uncertainties, and the lack of a discernible ultimate meaning. Existentialists encourage individuals to confront the absurdity of existence with courage, creativity, and a willingness to create personal meaning and value in the face of its inherent lack. Rejection of external authority and emphasis on individual experience. Existentialism questions traditional sources of authority, such as societal norms, religious dogma, and objective truths. It emphasizes the importance of subjective experience, personal freedom, and the lived realities of individuals. Existentialists advocate for an individualistic approach to life that prioritizes personal experience, authenticity, and the pursuit of one's own values. The rejection of external authority and emphasis on individual experience is a fundamental aspect of existentialist philosophy. It involves challenging traditional sources of authority, such as societal norms, religious dogma, and objective truths, and instead prioritizing the subjective experiences and personal freedom of individuals. Existentialism questions the idea that external authorities or institutions hold the ultimate truth or have the right to dictate how individuals should live their lives. It recognizes that these external authorities can often impose rigid rules, beliefs, and expectations that may limit individual freedom and hinder the authentic expression of one's true self. Instead, existentialism places a strong emphasis on the lived experiences of individuals and the subjective reality they encounter. It highlights the importance of personal freedom, choice, and the responsibility individuals have for shaping their own lives. Existentialists believe that individuals have the capacity to engage with their own existence, reflect on their values and beliefs, and make decisions based on their own experiences and insights. By emphasizing individual experience, existentialism acknowledges that each person has a unique perspective and subjective understanding of the world. It recognizes that individuals are shaped by their personal history, relationships, and encounters, which influence their perceptions, values, and interpretations of reality. Therefore, existentialists argue that individuals should be encouraged to explore and engage with their own experiences, as these experiences form the basis for their own personal truth and understanding. This emphasis on individual experience is closely linked to the concept of authenticity in existentialism. Authenticity involves living in accordance with one's true self, values, and beliefs rather than conforming to external expectations or adopting false personas. It requires individuals to critically examine their experiences, values, and motivations and make choices that align with their genuine desires and aspirations. The rejection of external authority and the emphasis on individual experience in existentialism are rooted in the belief that individuals are capable of self-reflection, self-determination, and the ability to create their own meanings and values. It encourages individuals to trust their own experiences and insights, to question prevailing norms and beliefs, and to take responsibility for shaping their own lives in accordance with their own subjective truths. In summary, the rejection of external authority and the emphasis on individual experience in existentialism challenge the idea that external sources hold the ultimate truth or have the right to dictate how individuals should live. It recognizes the importance of personal freedom, subjective experience, and the responsibility individuals have for shaping their own lives. It encourages individuals to engage with their own experiences, values, and insights, and to live authentically according to their own subjective truths. Existentialism has had a significant impact on various fields, including philosophy, literature, psychology, and social sciences. Its focus on individual agency, freedom, and the search for personal meaning continues to resonate with individuals seeking to navigate the complexities of human existence. While existentialism may not provide definitive answers to life's big questions, it offers a framework for engaging with the challenges and possibilities of being human.